channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
We are back. NFL Week 2 is here. We've learned a lot from Week 1. Let's not overreact. We will talk some overreactions. Had a few tough, bad beats. Had some good wins as well. Up and down week to start the year. Most NFL Week 1s, a lot of unknowns. Let's be honest here. We've learned a few things. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what we learned from Week 1. 3 big games like always, right? We talked the big games here. 1 Monday night, or actually 2 Monday night games. We will pick one of them, and we'll talk Bears and Lions. Big divisional game. They're both 0-1 teams. Both need a win, guys. And then Eagles versus Chiefs. Super Bowl last year. We got to talk that game. Of course, teasers and underdog options we will provide. Hit the teaser / alternate line, wherever you want to call it. I've seen it. I noticed a couple of books don't have the teaser market. Maybe it was just for week 1. You could just change it to alternate line, right? So if you look for an alternate line, it's a similar to a teaser, just not listed as that. The pricing may be a little different. But yeah, we were able to hit on that. Underdogs, not as much luck. We did have Atlanta. Tough loss, right? Kicker, very good kicker. The Korean guy missed a 44-yarder. And then they let Baker Mayfield come down with like barely any time left. So yeah, Falcons had a lot of opportunities to win that game. Tough loss there. Systemsportscapping.com or link.me/systemcapping for client opportunities. Services all over their records and more long-term success against a sportsbook. That's what we do. Profitable every year. In each sport, we handicap. How much profit? Never be able to determine that. Some years are obviously better than others, but find out how to beat the sportsbooks long-term with a client subscription. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, it's much appreciated. Please review, rate the podcast. That would help out a ton. And if you're on YouTube, still OG watching or listening on YouTube, please comment and like. It does help out a ton. Best time to get on board, guys. If you're interested in a client subscription, we got the PGA rolling out, UFC, and the NFL all going on right now. Busy time of the year for me, but if you like volume, this is the time. Let's do a Circa update, Circa Survivor update for you guys. 2 entries this year with a client. Both got through. We had Denver and Arizona to start the year. Top teams not used. I'm happy about that, right? I put these 2 teams in the category as solid teams, not top teams. So good you can get out of them, both out of the way early. A lot of people were on them, though, let's be honest. But both hit. So very happy. Good start in the Circa Survivor. What did we learn after week 1? But let's not overreact, right? Let's not overreact what we learned here. Let's start with the Jets. Tough beat. Had Steelers minus 2.5. They won by 2, 34-32, right? Tough loss there. You can call it a bad beat. You can call it just a bad loss, tough loss, whatever you want to call it. Definitely a tough loss there. And I didn't expect the Jets offense to look that good. Fields looked terrible in practices and preseason. I don't get it. Didn't turn over the ball. Their run game was a big reason for it. Hall had a really good game. And I do believe the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is overrated. It's old, guys, right? They're the second oldest team in the NFL. Some of those guys are on defense. Their safety team and safety room is not great. So I don't know if their defense is going to be as good as we expected. Again, week 1, let's slow down. Let's not get too excited. But what we learned is maybe the Jets offense will be better. Maybe Fields will be better. So that has to be noted and was added to my spreadsheets, moving forward. It's more of a watch and let's see, right? Was it just a week 1, both teams not up to speed and up ready, right? Who expected these 2 to score over 60 points, guys, right? No one expected that. So that's something to watch. Also, don't really overact with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if he's going to be that good moving forward. Again, Jets defense not good, and it was a revenge spot for him. So he was definitely up for that game. So that's something also to watch. Lions offense. Yikes. Who thought that? Who thought the Lions offense were to come? Now, we were on Green Bay. Green Bay minus 2.5, but I didn't expect the Lions offense to look like that. Now, Ben Johnson, the new Chicago Bears head coach, was the offensive coordinator there. Was he a big reason for it? I would say he was a reason for it, but I do expect the Bears to, I do expect the Lions to come back to reality, get going. It's week one. And Packers are a very good team, right? We're on the Packers in multiple future markets, right? I believe I have a best bet on them over 9.5 wins. That's going to get there. So definitely hold your horses on writing off the Lions. Let's see how they bounce back against the Bears. Tough game here. We'll talk about that here shortly. The Colts. Did they make the right choice with Daniel Jones? So far, so good. But let's, again, not overreact. The Dolphins' defense is poor this year. Obviously, losing Ramsey, replacing with a guy named Storm Duck. Not going to cut it, in my opinion. I do believe the Miami Dolphins aren't going to be a good team and are going to miss the playoffs. I mentioned that in my futures video. If you guys listen to the futures video on podcast, you know I was low on the Dolphins. And yes, week one, let's not overreact, but they look terrible. They look terrible on both sides of the ball, right? Sometimes it's just, one, it doesn't look so good. The other looks okay. This was terrible on both sides of the ball. I expect McDaniel to probably get fired mid-season, or at least definitely at the end of the season. Last one, we'll talk two more here. Chiefs are done. I would not overreact. Anytime Mahomes and Reed's still coaching his team, there's always going to be somewhat of a top 10 team. I do believe they fall back this year. I do believe there's a new division winner between Denver and Chargers, or at least have a good shot at stealing the division. Chiefs will probably still get into the playoffs as a wild card team, but I don't expect them to be as good, right? Rice is a huge loss for them on offense. He'll be back after 6 weeks, but that offense just doesn't look great. When you got Brown, playing in the slot, Brown's a deep guy, you're struggling, right? Kelsey's going to take a step back this year as well. The defense did not look great. Again, let's not overreact 1 week, but I do believe the Chiefs take a step back this year. Bengals were lucky to win that game, guys. Let's be honest, right? I think they had a total of 17 yards of offense in the second half. Ugly. Browns defense better than expected? Yes. We're going to have to put that there. I did stay away from Bengals for the most part. I actually had them in a 2-team moneyline parlay. I got very lucky. So I stayed away from them on Survivor and all that because we know what happens. Bengals just don't show up early, even though they started most of their starters all preseason, and they're still looking like that. So, yeah, Bengals overrated team. I don't expect them to do much. Maybe hang around 500 all year. Power rankings, top 5. Rest you can see here in the screenshot. I got Eagles, Bills, Ravens, Packers, Washington as the top 5. 6 to 10 is kind of just all over the place after week one. You can substitute them with some teams, substitute not. Bucks could be in there, Rams could be in there for a team. I get it. 6 to 10, it's going to be changing probably by next week. Before we get into some of these breakdowns, let's talk that Ravens-Bills games. Maybe one of the best games we're going to see all year, guys. Right? I had a Ravens ticket. Very tough loss. You're not going to get a worse loss than that. 99% chance of winning with 4 minutes left. They were up 15 with 4 minutes left, guys, and lost the game. Time and time again, I've seen this. I think it was 7 since 2021. They've blown double-digit leads. 7 double-digit leads, guys. Blown. Right? Unreal. And they ruined the week because of that game that they lost, right? Up and down week in week one. Tough loss to open up the year. Ravens were the better team. They're up 40-25. They look great. And in the fourth quarter, they just collapsed. Now, a lot of things had to go wrong for the Ravens. Yes, some bad luck. Some luck for Allen. Right? A lot of things. But there was a couple bad calls and some bad calls on defense as well. The O-line didn't play up to par. They didn't get to Josh Allen enough. They were playing too soft on him. You got to somewhat pressure him. So a lot of things went wrong in the fourth quarter for them to lose that game. If that game played out the same time, how many times would they lose? I think it was 277-0 in that type of situation. You're not going to see that again. But that's football. Anything can happen, right? At the end of the day. Right side, I still believe, was the Ravens, even though they didn't cover, right? If you took them to spread, you probably got +1. Maybe you pushed. That was in the midweek. Because Bills were favored, -1.5 to start this season. So keep that in mind. So maybe, you pushed on that. If you got 1.5, you got very lucky. You got very lucky there. But that was an earlier line. Let's get into it. Let's get into the breakdowns, guys. Lions versus Bears, Eagles versus Chiefs, Texans versus Bucks Monday night. Let's get into Lions -5.5 versus the Bears. There's 4.5. I think it's moving a little bit. Total 46.5. Big divisional game here, guys. Both 0-1 teams. If you're starting 0-2, tough hill to climb to get back into it, especially to win the division, but even to make the playoffs. So both teams don't want to be started 0-2, right? On paper, yes, the Lions are the better team. We've seen the Bears blow that lead against the Vikings. Yikes. Caleb Williams looked terrible in the second half. J.J. McCarthy stepped up after a very slow start. And Bears just looked terrible in the second half. Lions obviously struggled too. So both teams kind of struggled out of the gate. So not an easy game to predict here. If I had to bet the line here, I would take the Bears plus the points. But Lions, I do believe, win a close one. So moneyline Lions here would be the way I would look at home. Again, avoiding 0-2, better team on paper. Hard to not back the Lions here, right? Now, 5.5, a little too much, I believe. I think Bears could hang around, but would you be surprised if Lions win by 7? No, right? Ben Johnson returning to Detroit's huge. I mentioned that on the top. He was the offensive coordinator in Detroit, and now he's the Chicago Bears head coach. Great storyline. Great storyline. He'll know, a good chunk of the offense, even though it's a new offensive coordinator, but he knows all the players, etc. So how will that factor in? And that's why I think the Bears could hang around in this game. You expect a better offense from the Lions than in Green Bay. They're back home. Tough to play in Green Bay. A lot of factors here going for the Lions, and the reason why I believe they win the game. And also a big reason I think they're going to be able to run on the Bears, right? Gibbs and Montgomery should have a better game against his Bears rushing. You saw Mason really break out last game against the Bears, the Vikings running back. And you can run on this Bears team. They're known to run on. So I do believe the Gibbs and Montgomery train gets them this win at home. Staying away from the Lions on Survivor, I had somewhat of a, I have a second ticket that I don't always go with the favorites. I was thinking it, but I do believe the Bears could sneak out a win. If we see the Lions offense from last week, the Bears could win this game. So it cannot be a Survivor pick for me. It could fit into like an alternate line, money line parlay for sure. It could definitely fit into that for me. 5.5, definitely not. I would lean the Bears to plus 5.5. Total, really no comment on it. Eagles -1 versus Chiefs. Total 47. Super Bowl rematch. Are the Chiefs going to start 0-2, guys? When's the last time that happened? I didn't look that stat up, so you guys look it up. Something to look up while you're listening. I don't know the last time they started 0-2. Probably a long time. They have a tough travel spot here, guys, as well. And then Eagles have that extra day rest. This is obviously a tough one. It's not going to make my client card on a side perspective very tough to call. But traveling back from Brazil, tough, right? That's one tough. The time difference. Things I give the Chiefs, two things. They're avoiding going down 0-2, and they're playing at home. So that's a big thing here, right? Obviously, on paper, I have Eagles as the better team. I have them power ranked as the best team currently. Good news is Jalen Carter won't miss this game. That's very good news for him. You expect him to come out and have a good game after that suspension, right? He wants to prove something as well. Only thing that I like the big games. I talk the big games here, guys, but I don't have a play here on the side. I think you're flipping a coin. Slight lean to the Eagles -1, but the Chiefs playing at home and to avoid 0-2, I expect Reed to have them up for this game, staying away from a side. Slight lean to the Eagles. I'm going to lean the over 47. Obviously, in the Super Bowl last year, Eagles put up 40 on them. Total went to 62. 24 scored by the Eagles in week 1, Chiefs 21. That 47, it's a good line. Good line by the books there at 47. It can be very close. If you bet the over, you could be biting your nails, but I'm going to lean the under. I'm going to lean the under, guys, at 47. I think the Chiefs' defense will be better. Eagles' defense will look a little better, too. And I didn't like what I saw from Mahomes. I think Rice is a big loss for them. Lean the under, but you're going to be biting your nails. I just wanted to talk about this game. Had to talk about this game. Some good things to look for. Chiefs to avoid 0-2, playing at home. The Reed game plan in this one, I would love to watch. Excited for this game. Definitely will be one I will be monitoring and watching. Monday night game, Houston -2.5 versus Bucks. Total 42.5. Interesting game here. Bucks got lucky with that win, in my opinion, against the Falcons, but hats off to Baker Mayfield for driving them down the field there. And rookie wide receiver, Egbuke, 2 touchdowns. He broke out with Godwin out. Impressive there. Houston couldn't get going versus the Rams on the road. It looked a bit concerning, guys. We know they're going to have a struggle on the run game. The run game actually wasn't the struggle. Chubb got going a little bit, 60 yards on 13 attempts. Not terrible. What is that, 4.6 yards per carry, something like that. Only 9 points this Houston team put up. And it was Stroud really kind of struggling to get the passing game going. Now, he had a lot of targets that he hit, but Collins, 25 yards, can't have that. Can't have Collins, your main guy, at 25 yards. 32 yards was the most by Higgins. I don't even know who Higgins is, guys. The D was strong, right? The D was strong, allowing only 14 points on the road to the Rams. Very good. I like the Texans D, and I think that's what kind of squeezes the win here at home for them. So I'm going to lean the over. I'm going to lean the -2.5 here on the Houston. I'm debating if this makes my client card as well. I do believe Houston gets the win here. Tough travel spot for Bucks. You're asking Bucks to win 2 road games against 2 good teams. I think it's a lot to ask for. If they do, hats off. I just got to tip my cap to Baker Mayfield and the Bucks if they, prove me wrong here. But I am going to look at the Houston free play for you guys there. Alternate line teaser. Nice hit last week with Denver and Arizona. And you could go right back to Denver just to win money line, guys, against Carolina. Carolina, obviously, power ranked bottom of the NFL for me with, Miami and a couple other teams there. But, yeah, you can get back to Arizona at home just to win the game, guys. I wasn't thrilled from what I saw from Arizona. They hung on, but Saints pushed them. That was on the road. I think we see a better showing from Arizona. I think they win a game. Could be close, though, but they should win the game. And then Ravens, you can get it down to 6.5. Just them to win this game. I expect them to come out big against the Browns. I feel bad for the Browns. I think at least a 10-point win for the Ravens here. So I think that 6.5 looks intriguing. Underdogs. Pats, I think, are alive. You know how I feel about the Dolphins. So I think the Pats are alive here to win this game. Falcons are alive as well to avoid going down 0-2. And you can see Seattle giving Pittsburgh some trouble on the road with that defense and good coach Mike McDonald. Probably have a good game plan. He's very familiar with that Pittsburgh, the time in Baltimore as a defensive coordinator. That will do it, guys. That will do it. NFL Week 2 is around the corner. Look out for my UFC podcast, UFC Noche. They'll be out tomorrow. Looking forward to that card. But looking forward to the NFL Week 2. Maybe a little more. That UFC Noche card, not great. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Enjoy your week.